Hey, everybody, how's it going? So, this book, the Route 66 Travel Guide, this was gifted to me for me to tell you all about. Now, this book here, if you're a travel enthusiast, especially a historic U.S. road enthusiast, you know that Route 66 is kind of the quintessential highway of lore in America. It actually still does, goes from Chicago to Santa Monica, California. And it used to be the main route from Chicago to Santa Monica, California before all the interstates were introduced and built. And I've actually driven a very, very small part of Route 66, and it's a pretty cool road. I've been on interstates through California and Arizona that actually parallels certain sections of Route 66, and you can actually still see a lot of the old buildings that used to serve Route 66, gas stations and restaurants. And unfortunately, with the advent of the interstates, those businesses lost out. They're still there as a shell, as an empty shell on most of them. So this here is really an in-depth look into Route 66, the places you can visit, the places that are still open, the restaurants, the businesses that are still open. Some are still just like they were in 1956, and so they're kind of that step back in time and, a way to really just enjoy stepping back in time. Pardon me, holy smokes. So there are a table of contents on the front here, and it looks like there are 3, 4, 5 parts. Then there's an appendix, a special section, a centennial food stop section, a second appendix, and then a conclusion. There's 225 pages to this book. And looking at the table of contents here, the introduction, it says right on table of contents, read this first. So you want to make sure that you read the table of contents first and then go into each subsequent section from there. The sections are part 1, planning it right before you leave. So important. Now, my wife and I, when we travel, we make no plans. We just go and we do what we feel like doing. If you're going to travel something like Route 66, you really got to know where your gas stations are, where your potty stops are, where your restaurants are, where your grocery stores are, things like that. Because a lot of Route 66 is out in the middle of nowhere, and so you got to make sure that you know where you're going. Part 2, choose your perfect Route 66 itinerary. So decide if you're going to do the whole thing. I actually have a friend who about 2 years ago drove the entire thing with her husband. She had just retired, and they drove it in like a 1963 Chevy. And it was a dream that they had both had for years. It was a car that he bought when he was in high school, and he still has it, and they drove it across Route 66. Part 3, Route 66, state by state. So the different states that Route 66 goes through are Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. Part 4, make the journey truly memorable, not just efficient. And you know what? If you're traveling Route 66, you really need to make it a memorable journey. It's not one of those roads that you're going to open it up and do 70 miles an hour on. It's just not going to happen. A lot of the route is still very narrow 2-lane highway, at least the portion that I drove on. And it's an old road. So you want to make sure that you make it enjoyable and take your time on it. Part 5, capture the experience. Make a travel log. Personal stops and notes, things like that. That's what's covered in chapter part 5. Now, the first appendix is quick reference and peace of mind. Checklist, pre-departure checklist, daily driving checklist, emergency numbers and useful resources state by state, and final notes from the road. The special section, and this is the part here that I think makes this really pretty cool, is the Route 66, the 100th anniversary, 1926 to 2026. Why the 100th anniversary matters and why you picked the perfect year. Route 66 in 100 years, a fast timeline. Super readable, it says, and what you'll see in 2026, the Centennial Vibe. Centennial food stops. Eat Route 66 like it's 1956. Different places that you can stop in the different states. And there's one place, no, Texas has two places. Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, two in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. And then the second appendix is Centennial Challenge and Memory Tools, 1926 through 2026. And then the conclusion. Now, throughout the course of the book, there are all sorts of different things, different topics that he brings up: paperwork, apps, and the low stress tech plan. And this is in the, I think this is either in the first or the second part. This is in the part 1, planning it right before you leave. That's pages 15 through 30. Part 2 is pages 32 through 44. Part 3 is 48 through 149. That's a big section right there. Part 4 is 165 through 173. And part 5 is 177 to 180. And there's not a lot in the way of pictures in here. There are some QR codes in here. And the QR codes are for different stops that are along the way. So you can scan the QR code, and there's a little checkbox there so you can check it off. And the Gemini Giant, like this one here in Wilmington, Illinois, is a classic muffler man statue dressed as a space-age astronaut. A roadside marketing trend from the 1960s, it became a Route 66 icon after being saved and moved, proving how much locals care about keeping the Mother Road's weird charm alive. And each one of these QR codes here, let's see here, top 10 stops along the iconic route. And so each QR code is going to give you different information on, or information it looks like on the different stops that you can make. And that's different stops in each state. So that's why that section, that particular part, is so long, because it has all these different stops in each state along the route, which is really cool. That is really, really nifty. I mean, all the way back here, there's more QR codes back here. And then you get into make the journey truly memorable. Iconic Route 66 stops you'll regret skipping. So information on the different stops along the way that would be really cool. The best diners, cafes, and vintage motels, tourist traps versus worth it stops. There's some really great information inside this book. And this is something that I think would be really fantastic to take along with you when you do take your tour on Route 66. There's a place for personal stops and notes in here, quick preference and peace of mind. So this is a really nifty book. If you have any inkling that you want to take a trip down Route 66, you want to make sure that you stop and pick up this book. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. We'll catch you on the next video. Until then, cheers, everybody.